I am still very confident when it comes to the future of SEI, and I haven't given up. Despite the price pullback, I still believe in $20 for SEI during this bull run, hypothetically, even though that's not financial advice. The way I take a look at it is that something like this, I highly doubt is going to disappear off into the abyss. Keep in mind, sometimes people do believe that low prices means bad fundamentals, but when you take a look at SEI, it does fit in a very unique position within this space because when it comes to blockchains, keep in mind how when it comes to on paper at least, SEI has the hypothetical potential to, in my opinion, to at least be top 3. The reason being is because SEI is actually allegedly the world's fastest parallel blockchain. I mean, when something holds that title, I think it pretty much has to be top 3. And it's not just some random gimmicky statement that some random person said. That's actually not true because in terms of the numbers, it does showcase why SEI is very impressive. Take into consideration how the transaction finality time of Bitcoin, for instance. Now, I get it. This is more so of an apples to oranges comparison, but let's just put some perspective into this. Again, transaction finality time of Bitcoin is around 60 minutes. So it's basically an hour long. That's just way too long, in my opinion. Nothing wrong with Bitcoin, but still, that's a no bueno. Now, we take a look at something like, for instance, Ethereum. Ethereum is a lot better. It's around 6 minutes, but still, it's kind of slow. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's that dynamic because take a look at Solana, for instance. Solana is around 2.5 seconds. That's actually very fantastic, by the way. I mean, that's very groundbreaking. But you know what? SEI is like, you know what? Hold this cup of coffee or whatever the saying is. And they're saying, yeah, watch this because SEI transaction finality time is literally less than half a second on average. I mean, that's kind of crazy. It's actually around 380 milliseconds. I mean, can you imagine that? Again, less than half a second. That's kind of crazy to think about. So if you imagine transaction finality time is less than half a second on average, by the time this video is like over, can you imagine how much transactions SEI could hypothetically process within that? I mean, that's crazy. Imagine even longer within a time span of 24 hours or something like that. It really does add up, right? Again, when you take a look at Bitcoin, which is around 60 minutes, Ethereum around 6 minutes, Solana around 2.5 seconds, I think SEI could get a lot more done in just a shorter time frame, if that makes sense. You know, this is just a totally different ballgame in my opinion. When SEI really gains mass adoption, which isn't going to happen in the next 6 months to a year, by the way, but I'm going to get a little bit later into that on the video, or should I say in the video, but even besides that, once it really does, this thing could really be something special. And so again, I'm going to harp back to the previous mention that I talked about, which is why I don't think SEI is going to see the best adoption in the next 6 months to a year, because I don't think it will. I mean, take into consideration that this type of stuff takes years usually, but it doesn't matter because usually people care about the narrative currently in the world of cryptocurrencies. They care about what something could be years down the line, right? Like for instance, Solana doesn't have the best adoption, let's face it. It has good meme coins, like for instance, when I take a look at Maneki, I love that. But then adoption when it comes to Solana isn't the best, but since it has good perceived adoption, people do believe in it. And SEI again, when it's something, or should I say when something has statistics like that, I highly doubt that people won't view it as pretty much being the next big thing. Now, not to mention, if you take a look at it, right, SEI can facilitate 12,500 transactions per second, and it has been able to process over 8 billion transactions. So yeah, that's insane. It's also, by the way, supported by the creator of USDC, the stablecoin, something called Circle. So that's impressive. It's also supported by something called Coinbase. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I think Coinbase is pretty much one of the biggest exchanges out there. So this is legendary right here. It's arguably one of the best projects of all time, in my opinion, when it comes to SEI. It's also listed in a bunch of major exchanges. I mean, this is something very impressive. Not to mention, there's over 600 million crypto owners as of right now, according to Crypto.com research, more than ever before in history. Take a look at, the trajectory in the space in which it's heading, right? People do believe in blockchain technology, also a lot of enterprises. Not to mention, usually we do know that as a worst case scenario, altcoins, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. So based on the last Bitcoin halving event, that would actually mean around October this year. There's still plenty of time, in my opinion. So when people are panicking and all this type of stuff, I kind of get it because, of course, people don't like seeing their portfolio go down. But to me, if anything, the lower something is, the more room it has to grow, theoretically. Not to mention, the way I view it is that I don't think it's going to go down forever. I think this is very temporary. I think as April, May, June, July comes along, it could be a different story. I'm not necessarily guaranteeing I'll be 100% correct, but again, I'm willing to wait and see. I'm still going to be accumulating more SEI on a consistent basis, holding and just waiting. I am dollar cost averaging after all, and I'm not giving up. When, again, there's over 600 million crypto owners, more than ever before in history, according to Crypto.com research, it would make no sense for me to give up as of right now. It's not my style to randomly give up or anything like that, because I do believe in, say, $20, by the way, if it were to reach that price. Considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $90 billion. I get it. It's around an 84x from here. But you got to consider how BNB at one point reached over $100 billion in market cap. And is BNB as dynamic as this? I just don't think so. Take a look at the BNB smart chain ecosystem, for instance. Even back in 2023, according to Crypto.com research, slightly over 2% of the crypto hacks that happened that year actually occurred on there, right? So it's not good. Now, of course, if something like BNB can reach over $100 billion in market cap, especially back in 2021, at a time where even during the peak of that bull run, there was roughly only around 300 million crypto owners. Again, now we have over 600 million. I think this run is going to be something very special. And I think when I take a look at something like BNB, if BNB years ago was able to reach over $100 billion in market cap, while at the same time, I don't think being as dynamic as this, come on, is anyone going to really say that the BNB chain is better than this? Maybe more fans and more hype, but I just don't think it's better, right? So again, if BNB was able to reach over $100 billion in market cap, why can't, say, hypothetically go to around 90 billion? You know, why not, right? $20 during this bull run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gained value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.